With the advent of mass education comes, sure, one big thing. A lot bigger and, ooh, I gotta do this. Drexel. Bigger, more rich institutions for schooling. And does it, however, provide the best scenario for every one of us? 2009 marked a historic first, and that was the year that the most people out of high school went directly to college, over 70% of them. Projections show that by 2020, we're going to have an additional 11% going to college directly out of high school. Now, over the past few decades, this mindset has definitely translated. Most income levels, upper and middle definitely, automatically send their children to college without even really considering any kind of alternative. Statistics show that the construction industry is going to grow, and continually through the economic downturn it has grown, whereas the college graduates are somewhat finding, maybe some of you know, that the job sector isn't so inviting. The trades are. It brings up a question for me, and that is, what does the future hold for tradesmen? What does it hold for all of us if people are going to college instead of even considering the trades moving forward? There's a number of perceptions that I believe that keep people from entering into the trades. One of them is that obviously a lot of women would not consider the trades to be a viable option for a vocation. However, there is history that shows that women have moved into industries such as salesmen over the decades, lawyers, doctors, even military personnel. And it's been a push, but it has happened. I believe that the new frontier is actually construction and tradesmen. There are certainly many misconceptions around workers in the trades. Women definitely face obstacles. Recruiters rarely tell women that an option is moving into the trades. When you get onto a job site as a woman, there's often sexism and things that prevent a woman from moving into it as easily as a man, for sure, but things are definitely changing. There are mentorship programs available. According to the National Association of Women in Construction, in colleges, you can be skilled and trained in these fields. Also, the income levels are definitely changing as women get out of traditional women-oriented roles and into trades. In many cases, especially certain industries, this particular perception is true. So you can make more money in many other vocations, but if you get out of school and you don't have as many options after getting your graduate degree or your undergrad degree, then you're going to have a problem reaching the income level that you want to, whereas construction, as I said, is going to onwardly grow. There's also the conversation of debt. So many of you are parents, I would think, and you sometimes go into this thing without knowing the amount of debt that you're going to incur on the way. Students, the same thing. If you don't get out of school and get a job, then it could be a problem with the student loans and everything else that you have to pay off in the future. A recent Wall Street Journal article has stated the increase in salaries based on construction and labor degrees. So in other words, plumbers, electricians, pipe fitters, and so on and so forth, carpenters, it continues to grow and will continue to grow. Whereas the level of jobs that are available to the standard graduate program or undergrad program are continuing to be more and more scarce. It's a basic law of economics, right? So there's a supply and demand. You're getting, a lot of college students are getting out of school and not finding jobs, so the salaries are somewhat adjusted in a downward version. Whereas in the construction industry, you have many jobs and less skilled labor, so you're getting more and more income for those types of jobs. Perception number 3 is in my opinion, you have to work out in the elements. There's a lot more working outside. There's a lot more dealing with nature, which I believe to be something I love. But it's absolutely true. There's many different times when you're going to have adverse conditions in the field. However, the physical strength that's needed to do it is going to build, and you also have beautiful days. This perception, I believe, is my most important one. The need for a job, a vocation where you can actually obtain a creative outlook and also a room for advancement. I don't know how many of you remember being very young and playing outside, but it was never a stretch for me to come home filthy dirty, enjoy myself while I was outside, and be part of the earth while I was doing it. So that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about here. Getting back to our roots, actually giving young people a chance to get their hands dirty and to feel good about what they achieve. The training that comes from job experience, unlike the training that comes in a typical institution, is hands-on training. And I like to refer to it as street credits. So these two particular people, one being my brother, are trained masters in architecture, and you can see what they wear for their day-to-day thing. My apartment where I live, my house that I did, a pile of pigeon poop that is being extracted out of my bedroom when we were building it. My father, Jack, hence the name, was an immigrant, a builder, the mayor of our town for 30 years, and a plumber. Self-taught, self-made. Why not be a plumber? What is this conversation about the trades and the difference between a schooled career and a tradesman career? I became a master plumber 30 years ago. And in that time, I had no idea that I was doing it to further my future, to obtain something greater than that. But I'd like to share with you now some of the things that have come by me being a plumber, by me being a tradesman, and the education that I have furthered for myself being in that trade. In 1996, my brother and I, Tim, who I said was an architect, is an architect, decided that we were fed up with the whole conversation around specialization. We look at professionals in this day and age as people that we aspire to be. But if we really broke down what a professional is in our culture, it's someone who is trained to do one thing very, very well, hence specialization. The cult of the expert, so to speak, speaks to that. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to eliminate the us and the them from that culture, in the building industry at least, and start working together as a team, bringing it all together and have a buy-in and a partnership between the two groups, the skilled and the trained in the classroom. So we decided to change the way we look at building design. It certainly isn't as easy. It certainly isn't easy putting on a tool belt every day and coming home filthy. But my father always used to say, if it's easy, it's not worth it. Easy come, easy go. This was the first building that we did together, my brother and I. And as you can see, it's a little bit for the imagination to assume that this could be a beautiful spot. But as we moved through it, the results were extremely satisfying because this is how it turned out. This is right in Old City. Initially, we started by buying dilapidated buildings in dilapidated neighborhoods. One of the reasons was because we could afford these neighborhoods. But we moved into this project, which is in Northern Liberties, because it gave us an opportunity to actually look at the building as the design. So in other words, we went into the building and let it speak to us and tell us what it wanted to do. This, in fact, was a meatpacking plant, and inside was nothing but dead, dark space. What we had an intention of doing when we moved into it was opening up the space into light and life. So we turned this death and darkness into light and life. And in the process, we decided that we would take each member of our team, who were a lot consisting of students and family members, and give them opportunities to actually express themselves in a creative way, in a way that they would be satisfied by going home, and actually turn the job site into an architectural studio. Some of the things that we worked on was the architectural language, the language that separates us from them. We turned objects, we looked at the objects rather than the walls being defined as rooms, we used the walls to define the rooms. A formal meat packing plant with racks that are running up and down, we turned into closets that would move over top of spaces, hence opening them up but keeping the character of the space. Something an architect could rarely do sitting at a drawing table without being a part of this process. Space is transformed by light and openness. I'm trying to do two things at the same time here, I'm sorry. Competitions that took, in this case, the 1 hour door, where we had a team take the door and spend 1 hour finding things in the surrounding site to build it and hence come up with the door that you see. Our mission was simple: to give students and grads some hands-on experience and the fields that inspired them so that they could dream while they do. And what came out of that was the sandbox that we work in today. We look at sites and we look at them as our playground. We want to inspire ourselves and we need to inspire ourselves, but it's important to us to inspire others as we go through. The sites that we look at aren't always the prettiest sites. They certainly have something to add to the imagination, but from that site we come up with this kind of topography and finished result. It's important to also acknowledge the idea of community. And as we went through this thing in the many years that we've done it, the community began to be the building block of what we were interested in moving forward. We started questioning how close buildings could be to each other and still provide privacy for others in the community. We questioned how energy could be made on site and generate everything it could to survive. We can't build and manage everything, but wouldn't it be great to capture more and use less, as we did through the process? We captured every drop of rainwater and reused it, making dreams into realities and furthering the conversation of beauty in the neighborhood. Why wouldn't every roof in the city be planted and be a living room? Street credits dictate to us what we can do and what we're interested in. We find neighborhoods where we can express ourselves in a way that's above and beyond what is capable currently in the market. Building the highest LEED Platinum multi-unit duplexes in the country, right here in Philadelphia. I think to look at a community without considering the surrounding environment is a problem. And to be, again, in a classroom or in an office without being on the site, you might miss the ability to take on how the rainwater is going to fall in a parking lot. Shouldn't we be capturing all that rainwater? Shouldn't we be giving a car away with the property that we sell that's an appliance, just like a washer and dryer is, that plugs into a house and the house generates all the electricity to run it? Why not? Shouldn't it have roofs that are gardens? In fact, why isn't every roof a garden? Shouldn't light come in from the roof and from the windows and lose the need for any kind of artificial lighting whatsoever? We wanted to consider, moving forward, what it meant to actually move into the next realm. And we considered, how is the building industry done? We drop off a bunch of parts on a lawn, and then we expect the skilled tradesmen to put it all together. Well, it would be kind of like going and buying a new car and coming home and finding it on your front lawn in a million different pieces, and then you put it. Does it make any reason? No, but for some reason, for centuries, it has made sense in the classroom or in the drawing room. This is currently how the building industry works. I know I'm out of time here, so I just want to go through a very simple conversation with you, and that is, over the past number of decades, the construction industry has definitely gone high-tech. But what hasn't happened is we haven't addressed a lot of the major concerns that we have. Affordable housing. Why should affordable housing have people pay their utility bills when we have nature that can do that? So why not build an affordable housing project, which we're currently building, that has no utility bills, that's carbon neutral and zero energy? Why not build it in a factory, which we are doing right now, where we have skilled tradespeople who are interested in what they do and actually not out in the elements with the wood and causing all things like mold and everything else happening along the way? And why not express ourselves into larger projects, say 136 units on the river, and take the parking that's guaranteed and needed by code, 130 spots, put a roof over top of it, turn it green, manage all the stormwater, have the buildings come out of the green roof. They themselves have management of their own rainwater, manage their own electricity and their power, and have this community fit into its current community in a way that it expresses life and likeness to the community. Why not give it options for clothing? Why not give it the neighborhood an option to choose what they want for it? Why not give it gardens throughout and give it the capability of achieving goals that have never been achieved across the country? Why not? That's the big question for me. Why not? Thank you.